Hi, my name is Chang Hoi Sheng and my matrix number is 297670. And right now I'll be presenting for the assignment 2 of mobile programming, which is the worker task management system. So first of all, in this project, there's three assets for images, which are camera.png, profile.png, and wtms.png. And then for the PHP files, there are four, which is dbconnect, register worker, login worker, and update profile. So for DB Connect is used to log into the and access to the database account. And then for register worker is to register the account, register the user and push the data into the database. And then for the login worker is used for logging in, and there's also the SHA1 for the password for hashing. And then for the update profile, there's to update the data of your profile and update it in the database. So here the update statement is to use placeholder to prevent SQL injection. And then the bind parameters is to prepare the statement, string and integer, and then execute the statement to check for success, and then return JSON response to client. So for the main dart, this is the main root widget for the application. And then for the my config, this is for the IP address for the XAMPP MySQL to connect to the database. And then for the user dart, this is the user property with the user ID, name, email, password, phone, and address. And then constructor with user ID, username, user email, user password, user phone, user address, and name constructor to create user object from JSON and convert the user object into a JSON map here in map string dynamic to JSON. So the first screen when during startup will be the splash screen. So there's init state and then future delay to delay the splash screen for 3 seconds before checking login status, and to load the user credential by attempting load photo login or redirect you as a guest view if you have never created an account before or had the app to log in before. So this is the design for the splash screen, an image and loading indicator. And then here, load user credential is to load the user credential from shared preference to auto login. And it will retrieve the saved email password and remember me flag. And if the remember me is checked, it will try to log in automatically and pass user data and navigate to main screen with user session. And if it is invalid credential, you will proceed as guest. And if the remember me is false, you will also be launched as guest. So the next one is the main screen. So for the main screen, there's the icon button for the profile, and then there's the button on press will go to profile page, and then another button for login at the top left. And then these are all the UI design. This is the text in the middle, welcome with the featured user username. So if you are a guest, it will show with welcome guest. If you have logged into your account, it will show your account username. And this is the button to another page. Alright, so the next one is register screen. So here there's the controller for form field and image variable, and then this is the design of the UI, and there's the profile image picker container here that takes image, and then here is the input field where if you're required to put the name, email, password, and then re-enter password, phone number, and address. And then there's the register button, and in void register user dialog is the dialog box for the confirm registration, and within that you will also have the email format check to see if your email contains the alias and the dot. Like if it contains alias dot and then the dot must be behind the alias, and then must come after the alias. And then these are all the validation checks. So if any of the field is empty, it will say please fill or fill the snack bar. So if the format is invalid for email, it will say please enter a valid email address. If the password length is shorter than 6, it will say password must be at least 6 character. And if the password is different for password and re-enter password, it will say password do not match. And then the confirmation dialog will ask if you are sure, and if you click OK, you are a registered user. If you click cancel, it will cancel. So this is register user is the API call to register the user, and this is the link. And then here there's the show selection dialog. So this is the show dialog to pick image source. And then the select from camera is to capture image using the camera for the emulator or anything. And then the select from gallery is to select image for gallery. Alright, next is the login screen. So for the login screen, here the bool is checked, is the checkbox state or remember me. And then it will load credential, and this is the UI design. And then this is the app logo, and input field is the email and password, and the checkbox for remember me. So if it's checked, then it will check everything, but it will also check if you have filled in all the fields. If it's not, it will ask you to fill in all the fields when you're trying to click the checkbox. And then you store the email password, and the is check boolean. And the elevated button is the login button right below it, and it will trigger login process. And then there's gesture detector to navigate you to register screen once you successfully no this just navigate to register screen if you want to create a register an account, and you do it by clicking on the text register an account. And there's also gesture detector on forget password, but it's not implemented yet for now. And then login user is to login user by calling PHP API. And then if email is empty or password empty, you ask to please fill in or fill. And then the HTTP post, it will send the HTTP post request to backend to then see to decode and see if the thing is correct. If everything is correct, it will create user model from JSON, and then this will close the login screen. Right. So next is the store credential. So store credential is used using shared preferences here, and then this is to remove the saved credential when you uncheck, and then it will show pref remove. If you check, it will say pref stored success. And the load credential is to load save credential when the screen is initialized. So when you just move from uh, the email password and remember if everything is correct, so it will just load the save credential for your account. And then the last one is the profile page. So here is the controller for each profile page, and also this is to hold a locally selected profile image. And then this is to initialize controller with existing user data. So again, these are all the design. And then here is to display the worker info, and then for the enable force is because the worker ID is supposed to be primary and auto increment, so it is set where you have to it can't be edited, and then these are the rest that you can change your name, email, phone, and address at the profile page. And then there's also the button for save changes. And then the build info field here is the helper to build a label text field. And then the select image is to open image picker to choose a new profile picture. And the save profile is to validate input, send request, update request, and handle user response and handle response. And then the email web validation is the same as the register screen one. And then if full name is empty, email is empty, phone is empty, address empty, if any of them is empty, it will say please fill or fail. And then if the email is not valid, please enter valid email address. And then here it will send post request to update the profile on the server. And then it will check for valid JSON status field. And then if successful, it will say profile updated successfully. And then it it will update the local user model, and at the same time navigate you back to the main screen with the updated user model. Right, so that is mostly about the coding part. So now I'll run the app. Alright, so it's downloaded now in the emulator. So let's wait a little. Right, so this is the splash screen. It appears for 3 seconds, and then because this is just freshly downloaded, so it's not logged in yet into any account yet. So this is the guest. So welcome guest, and you click this to register a new account. So here you can choose picture from gallery for profile picture, and then let's say your name. You say testing 1 2 3, and then the email. Let's say testing test gmail.com, and then password 111 and then the phone number and the address. Right, just put whatever, and then here, so the let's say if there's a field that is empty, you will say please fill all the field, and then if the alias is missing, please enter a valid email address. If the dot is missing, it should be the same, yes. And then for the password, if it is missing, is it less than 6, you will say password must be at least 6 characters. And let's say if the password is wrong, you say password do not match. And after that, if you when you click register account, you will say ask OK or cancel, are you sure? So you click OK, and then it will show success. That means your account has been successfully created, which we can check in the database. So as you can see, it is here. So the reason why the ID is 11 is because it's auto increment, and because I've deleted some of the data before. So but for now it's in here. So now is to log in. Alright, say if I just fill it like this, it'll say failed. Then if I give the password, it will say that preference stored successfully, and then if you click login, everything is correct. Is it wrong? One more, and then you can log in. Alright, so after you log in, it will immediately show the username, update and show the username. And then if you go to the profile screen, you will see that you can't edit the worker ID, and then there's name, tag, email, phone, and address. So if your email is invalid, it won't let you. You will say please enter valid email address. And then if your email is valid but there's a field empty, so we'll say like please fill in all field. So let's say here, if you see there's another Gmail here, so it says invalid response for server. This is because the Gmail already exists, so you can't use the same Gmail since the email is unique key. So let's say I change the name to testing1. So once you click save, you say profiles updated successfully, and then you see the name will be changed immediately. Welcome testing1. Alright, so the only thing left to show is here for register account. So let's say if you're registering an account, and then I say you're gonna use the same email again to register another account. Alright, click register. you say fail to register because it's unique key, and then you can't use the same email. So the last thing to test is say if I log in this one. The last thing to test the remember me, so it auto log in. So remember me, log in, and then now you close the app, and then when you open it again, it will load the saved data. As you can see, immediately go to welcome testing one, and there everything is there. Alright, so that is all for my presentation. Thank you for watching.